Greetings and welcome to the Milkroots podcast. This is the voice of Milkroots speaking. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we have a lot to talk about today. First off,
my spoon is too big.
No, but seriously, this is the first episode, so I want it to be interesting and entertaining. I'm going to start by playing some soothing sounds for you. Those are some good sounds. Did you know that baby chickens, before they hatch out of their eggs, communicate with each other and their mother through a system of sounds? Sounds are something that I frequency sound you are listening to and you and sound are like the frequency audio when you are listening to sound you the frequency like you're listening to audio which feel like a frequency sound or something auditory hallucination feels like sound. Listen, people. The world is coming to its end, and that's just the beginning. It's time to wake up. And with that being said, let's move on to our poetry section. This is a collaborative poem by Francis Morris and his brother Jeffrey Thatcher. I believe Francis wrote parts 1 and 3, and his brother wrote part 2. So here it is. It's called Sarah's Been Racing. Sarah's been racing, rain for days, beating hearts, stuck inside. Let's buy her before she dies. Paying trash, spend someone else's time. Strapped for cash, left him in the aisle. Sarah's gone away for a while, searching for answers in broken eyes. Her racing heart subsides, and she sighs. All this wind and I still can't fly. At least I'm dry, despite the weather. Let me just remove these feathers. Sarah drives into the night. She's in the mood for conversation. The radio is enough to ease her mind. Stuck between stations, rain for the occasion, static tapping on her brain. Sarah's been racing, she hears a voice say. Wind through her mane, through the sleet and the rain, she's got eyes on the line. It's all on her mind. She's proud as fire, and thin as a wire now. She's not what she used to be at all. She rounds the corner in a flurry of flame, so fast her name flies away. Ahead by a nose, and coming in hot. She's got a one-track mind. If she keeps it on down, she's mine. A galloping angel. She keeps on, spinning and spitting and neighing. The ropes are fraying, and the bridle is bit. With each new hit she lifts. Her hoofs hover above the ground. We've never seen her move like this, yet still, the pure, untimely death of intimacy sits heavy on her saddle. I might as well sleep, she thinks to herself. I might as well leap a few feet off the ground. Maybe then I can reap the benefits of being sound. She lies in wet grass, for once not bothered by the brass on her reins, and the rain on her head, a gentle lullaby as she slides into a dream, remembering the wings she once had. They're calling me again. Shady men with numbers. They think I do it all for them. But I'm just racing to the end. Racing till the day I finally bend and break. I'll take my leave then, to the mountains, or deep into the forest, where I can live like the Pegasus that I know I've always been. Well, I hope you all enjoyed that. So, anyway, it's that time of year again. The time when pumpkins start to gain sentience, so we have no choice but to kill and eat them before they rise up and take over. Back in my day, what we did on Halloween was we'd fill our socks with pudding. That was Halloween for you. And I remember I always had the time of my life. It's still my favorite holiday, despite how much it's changed over the years. But I tell you what, when I'm handing out candy to trick-or-treaters, you can be sure my socks are full of pudding. Let's bring on a guest. Since it's spooky season, I brought a ghost hunter on the podcast for an interview. He wanted to remain anonymous, but anyway, here he is. Thank you for being here today, sir. How are you?
Well, Mr. Roots, I just want to thank you for having me on, first of all. It's an honor to be here to talk with you today. I've been a fan of yours for as far back as I can remember. I've been a milkhead. I gotta admit, I'm a milkhead. And I've always wanted to be on your podcast. I mean, it's just a dream come true for me. It's a dream come true for a old lowly ghost hunter like me. It's a dream come true, I'll tell you what.
Well, thanks, man. I really appreciate it. I've got some questions that I typed up for you. That's pretty much all I've got for you today. I can't wait to hear your answers, and I hope we have some good conversation here. So my first question is, do you actually hunt ghosts? Like with weapons? Do you hunt them with weapons?
Now, you see, that's a common misconception. Most ghost hunters don't use guns, and now some do. So we got a special kind of gun in the business they call an ectoplasmography. And what you basically do with that is you can stun the ghost, but you can't kill the ghost, being as ghosts are already dead. But it's really frowned upon in the ghost hunting community, so it's not something that I participate in myself. The kind of ghost hunting that I do is basically what we're doing is we're going into old abandoned buildings, psych wards, gas stations after 1 a.m. If you ever been in a gas station after 1 a.m., you know those 24-hour joints? You know it gets pretty spooky in there, and that's because the ghosts come out around that time. They like to go into the gas stations. I think what it is they're just looking at the old snacks they used to eat back when they still had bodies. And so it's a really good place to go find ghosts. And that's basically what I do. And I fired a ghost gun, as we call them. And it really gives you a rush. It's really something that I could understand why a lot of people do it. But as I said, it's really frowned upon in the ghost hunting community. And it's sometimes even considered ghost poaching.
Ghost poaching?
And that's just not something that I participate in. But it is a common question that I get all the time. People want to know, you killing them ghosts? What you doing with them ghosts? People will come up to me and they say, hey, you killing a ghost lately? I always explain to them that, first of all, you can't kill a ghost. We gotta know this. You can't kill a ghost. They're already dead. And second of all, I do not participate in that kind of ghost hunting. And I don't recommend that anybody else do either. And that's just my stance on it. I'm an ethical ghost hunter. That's what I am.
Ghost poaching.
That's right.
That's the most interesting thing.
You got it, buddy.
I'm gonna have to have like a separate. I'm gonna have to bring a ghost poacher here on the podcast, maybe for my next interview. That's really interesting.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, my next question is, tell me about the first time that you saw a ghost.
So the first time I saw a ghost, I must have been about 6 or 7 years old. I'm standing butt naked in the woods looking for squirrels. All right, that's what I used to do when I was a kid. I don't know how your childhood went, but that was something that I liked to do when I was a kid. All right, so I'm standing out there butt naked in the middle of the woods, and I start hearing this noise. It's like, whoa, whoa. That's a ghost call. And now at the time, I didn't know that. I had never heard a ghost before, so I didn't know what the heck was going on. There was a mountain lion or I don't even know, a rattlesnake or something. I didn't know what it was, and I was scared. I'm telling you, I was scared. So, start walking towards the noise, right? Because I wanted to know what it was. Because even though I was scared, I've always had that curiosity living inside of me. I've always had that seed of, what is that? I gotta know more. I just this thirst for knowledge that I just can't get rid of. So, I'm butt naked, middle of the woods, looking for squirrels. Hear this noise. I start going towards where the noise is, and I hear it again. Oh, oh, oh. So, I come up to this old abandoned house. It's falling down and all sorts of stuff, and just complete disarray, right? And I go in, and that's where I see it. I see the ghost just standing there. Just standing there. Just standing there. I can't even explain it. If you've never seen a ghost, it's really hard to explain what a ghost looks like and what it does. But it was just standing there, and then it disappeared. And that's it. That was the first ghost I ever saw. But that opened the door for me to find more. I said, I gotta see them all. I gotta see every single ghost. And that's kind of how, that was the seed that was planted within me when I was a child that led me to this career as a legitimate ghost hunter. And it's not spectacular. I know a lot of people want to hear a really spectacular story. They want to hear about, oh, I walked into this haunted mansion and a big old ghost came out with a buck knife and a pot of pasta and started screaming at me and telling me to go away and all this stuff. But the reality of it is, that's the movies. That's not real life. That's not how it happens in real life. In real life, ghosts are kind of boring. That's the truth to it. And I'm sorry if I disappointed you or I disappointed any of your listeners, but that's just the truth of it. That's the mundane reality of ghost hunting.
That sounds absolutely terrifying and not boring at all. I have goosebumps. So, out of all the encounters that you've had with ghosts, what was the scariest?
Now, my scariest ghost encounter happened when I must have been about 9 or 10 years old. I was standing outside in my backyard, butt naked, cooking down some apples in a pot of water on the fire. You know how kids like to cook apples down on the fire in the fall. It's a fun fall activity. All the kids used to do it. My little twist on it was I like to do it butt naked. That was my little twist on it. And like I said, I love being butt naked. You must be my favoriteest thing in the whole world, I think. Besides hunting ghosts, obviously. So I'll set the scene for you. I'm out there butt naked, like I want to do, cooking down apples. So what happened was one of the apples came right up from the pot, started floating around, started floating around in front of me, just floating around in front of me, and then just smacked me right in the middle of the head. Figured out it was a ghost throwing apples at me. And now that might not sound that scary, but like I said, ghost hunting is a mundane thing. Sometimes when you encounter a ghost, you're just sitting there butt naked trying to cook some apples down in a pot like any normal kid would do. That's a normal thing for kids to do. It's normal for kids to be butt naked. That's what I'm saying. It's not weird. It's not weird to be butt naked cooking apples down in a pot. It's just a completely normal thing. But anyway, like I was saying, that was scary as heck, having that apple thrown at my face. And that was the first time and the last time that a ghost ever physically assaulted me. That's not something ghosts usually do. And that's why it's so scary when it happens. And that must have been the scariest ghost encounter I think I ever did have.
Well, you know what they say, an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Buddy, that's a 10-4 right there, tell you what.
Have you ever been to the other side?
Have I ever been to the other side? No. Because the thing is, if you go to the other side, there is no coming back. I won't even dare step foot in the other side. All right? And if that door ever opens for you, you do not go through that door. Because my friend, my partner, Hank, he was my ghost hunting partner. One day, sorry, I'm getting choked up here. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. One day, me and Hank, we were in an abandoned building, butt naked, looking for ghosts. And what happened? We walk up on a whole bunch of ghosts having some kind of ghost meeting, right? They're standing around in a circle, just full apparitions, just these ghostly ghouls just floating there. And in the middle of them, there was this door with this green light shining through. And Hank, he went up to that door, and he looked at me, and he took off his cap, and he said, "Buddy, I'm going to the other side. I'll see you soon." And I reached my hand out to him, and I tried to get him to come back, but he just went right straight through that door, and the ghost followed behind him. I had never seen Hank again. He was the best dang ghost hunting buddy that anyone could ever have. And so now I have dreams about it. I have dreams about that door. I have dreams about him going to the other side. And every morning I wake up and I sit up in my bed, butt naked. And I say to myself, I ain't never going to the other side. But maybe one day Hank will come back and he can tell me what it was like there. Maybe one day.
Gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I wonder if Hank is like partying it up with the ghosts over there on the other side. I bet you think he's having a ghost party on the other side?
Well, that's interesting. You know, I never thought about it like that.
Oh my God! So here's my last question for you. Do ghosts have a scent?
Yeah. You know, that's a question I get a lot, actually, whether or not ghosts have a scent. And the simple answer is yes, they do. But it's hard to describe that scent if you ain't never smelled a ghost before. But let me see if I can kind of figure it out. The way I usually describe it to people is, you ever been to Taco Bell for that fourth meal? You know, real late at night, 2, 3 a.m. And you order a Crunchwrap Supreme, and then they give you the Crunchwrap Supreme, right? But it's cold. And you know that Crunchwrap Supreme has been sitting out for probably an hour or two, and they didn't even bother warming it back up before they give it to you. So you get it in the car, and you think about returning it. You kind of think about, should I go back and ask them for a new one? But then you don't want to upset anybody there and make a big scene in Taco Bell at 2 a.m. in the morning or whatever, whenever you're there for your fourth meal. And so you decide, you just stay in your car. You drive out of the parking lot. You got about a 45-minute drive back home. You leave that Crunchwrap Supreme sitting on the passenger seat, and what you do, you know how a lot of people do this, right? Everyone should know what I'm talking about. You put that Crunchwrap Supreme on your seat, and then you turn on the heated seats in your car if you got heated seats. Sometimes what you can do is you can just take some duct tape and tape that Crunchwrap Supreme to your vent, and then turn the heat on. And this way, by the time you get home, that Crunchwrap Supreme is nice and warm. So then when you get home, right, and you open up that Crunchwrap Supreme that's been sitting on that heated seat for about an hour, and you cut it open, and that, that cheese, how it's all coagulated and it ain't even melty anymore because it's been just, completely decimated essentially by the process of trying to heat it back up. And that the lettuce inside of that specific Crunchwrap Supreme, that's what ghosts smell like. They smell exactly like that lettuce after that Crunchwrap Supreme's been sitting out for 3, 4, 5, who knows how long or how many hours it's been sitting out. So, yeah, old soggy lettuce from Taco Bell. That's what ghosts smell like. So you ever go into a room and you smell old soggy lettuce from a Taco Bell Crunchwrap Supreme that you got at 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, whatever it is, and then heated it up on your car seat, that's what a ghost smells like. And then you'll know that there's a ghost present. And what you can do is you can go to my website, ghosthuntersanonymous.com, and you can actually put an anonymous report on where that ghost is, all right? And I'll come out with my team when you're not home, and I'll find that ghost.
Well, that's fantastic. And those were some truly spine-tingling ghost stories. Spines. Spiders. I'm trying to keep things spooky, but let's end on something a little more lighthearted. I'd like to share a few wholesome animal facts. Did you know that squirrels plant thousands of new trees each year by just forgetting where they put their acorns? Turtles can breathe through their butts. I'm just reading from boredpanda.com, and number 11 on the happy animal facts is spiders cannot fly. That's not true. There is a species of spider that can fly. So, happy Halloween.